Well, every first Wednesday of the month, we are talking about the world of artificial intelligence. We obviously know how important this topic is, and these discussions are at the moment. Once again, pleasure to be joined by Stefano Pontoni, marketing professor here at the Wharton School and co-director of Wharton Human AI Research. Stefano, great to have you back with us. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dan.
You know, it's funny. You noted to me earlier this week, I know this is something you've looked at. We're starting to see some interesting partnerships kind of play out in the world of AI. OpenAI is partnering with NVIDIA. We're seeing other types of deals right now. So you've called it a vertical integration going on. What do you make of this going on and how it could potentially impact the future success of AI?
Yeah, we've seen just earlier this week NVIDIA announcing a deal with OpenAI where NVIDIA will invest 100 billion. So we're talking about massive amounts of capital into OpenAI. And that has been one of many such deals between companies that are enmeshed in this AI space. One that you probably read in the news recently was Oracle. We've seen tie-ups between the big cloud computing companies and AI labs, for example, Microsoft and OpenAI, AWS and Anthropic. And a lot of these deals, I think you can look at them from a point of view of vertical integration. Somehow, I could imagine that, for example, NVIDIA collaborating with OpenAI could help NVIDIA understand how to best design chips for AI training. So perhaps there is interesting transfer learning this way. But some people are also wondering about a certain circularity in these investments, where NVIDIA will put money into OpenAI. OpenAI then gives the money back to NVIDIA by buying the chips. And the similar, AWS gives money to Anthropic, and then Anthropic gives money back to AWS by buying cloud computing. So some people are also worried a little bit about this inbreeding, let's say, of investments. So basically the money comes and goes and kind of changes hands, but it stays in the same loop. But certainly big news on that front, yeah.
It doesn't feel like, though, that we should be surprised to see all of this play out when you think about how seemingly important we believe AI is going to be to so much of what we do over the next many years.
Yeah, for sure. And if you believe the assumption made by many in the in the tech sector that we are not very many months away from artificial general intelligence or something like that, that will be able to perform many, many tasks, then spending those enormous amounts of money certainly makes sense.
One of the other areas I know you're focused on is copyright issues, and we're seeing some of these cases play out in the court. Anthropic being the latest, they just settled a lawsuit.
Yeah, that was an interesting piece of news. Came also a few days ago. We've seen a judge agreeing to a settlement that Anthropic basically is making with a set of content creators for the claim that Anthropic has used pirated books to train its AI models. They settled for 1.5 billion, and this is the first settlement of this kind. And I think we're going to see more of these agreements between the AI companies that need data for training these models and content creators, publishers, authors who have been providing that data.
I think that's the interesting thing because, I think the assumption was for many, many years that the distributors had the edge, had the control in this process, but we're starting to see the content creators, and we're seeing this play out in the music industry a little bit, that the content creators feel like they have more of a say right now.
Yeah, and I think increasingly creating good content that can be used by AI tools to the AI companies to create AI models. I think it's a very strong value creation, potential. And if you look at, for example, a few months ago, Reddit's IPO, a lot of the narrative around the stock was about the value of Reddit data for training AI models. So it's really economically significant.
You guys recently just finished a Gen AI conference. Give us a little background on what some of the important themes of the conference were.
Yeah, we hosted our Generative AI for Business conference 3 weeks ago in San Francisco. It's the third year running we're doing this, and it's a great way of bringing top researchers working at the cutting edge of AI applications in business over to our San Francisco campus to discuss AI for a couple of days. Lots of interesting stuff. Love to talk more, but we don't have the time. But just to highlight one topic where we've seen a few sessions, there were 3 or 4 sessions where researchers were exploring the power of synthetic data, where basically the idea would be, can we learn something useful about people by talking not to people, but to AI models? And the idea will be predicated on the fact that these AI models are trained on so much human data, they know so much about how people behave and how people think, that you might be able to get some useful insights about, for example, your customers, what they like and how they think about the product category, by just interrogating those networks rather than going to talk to real consumers, or maybe, in addition, I would say. But we've seen quite a few interesting use cases, and we're just learning how this is going to work, but it's a very interesting new frontiers in the industry of marketing services and customer insights.
And I'll finish up. I know you had maybe wanted to touch, if we had time, on a new study that had come out of Columbia University as well.
Yeah, that was one of the studies being presented at the conference. It was really interesting. A team of researchers led by Olivier Toubia has created a digital twin data set where they interviewed for several weeks 2,000 people, and then they created a model of these people based on all the answers that they got on over 500 questions. And now you can have a synthetic version of this panel that you can use to run studies, ask questions, and so forth.
So it would be used just specifically for that, because it seems like a very unique kind of development, and how it could potentially be used a larger scale in the public moving forward.
Yeah, and lots of researchers are interested in using this kind of data to test the capabilities of AI exactly in this domain of synthetic data.
Stefano, always great to talk with you. Thanks very much for your time this week.
Thank you, Dan.
Stefano Pontoni, marketing professor here at the Wharton School and co-director of Wharton Human AI Research.